السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أهلا وسهلا. Welcome to the first video of Deen Over Dunya, and today's topic will be Tawheed, the purpose of life. And it's one of the most fundamental topic that every Muslim must study and live with. It's not just you join one class and fundamental program that we're doing today, and I hope everyone tries to benefit something off of it. And okay, you see, if you guys look at the screen, it says Tawheed, the purpose of life. And before we get started, we must find the definition of Tawheed. And the word Tawheed is a verbal noun, so like it comes from a verb that is derived from a verb and to a noun. So original verb is like wahidu or yuwahidu, to declare something as one. For example, also it can be used as a non-religious usage or religious usage. For example, tawheedul kalima. It means to have unity or agreement on the same statements. So like everyone comes together and they have Tawheedul Kalima. Everyone agrees on the same statement. Only one, like unity. This can be a good thing or a bad thing. In reality, it is a bad thing when people unite paying no attention to one's another evil. Like even in innovations, some people are just unity agreement on without looking from the text. And another example, Tawheedul Balad, meaning like when a country becomes one. For example, the United States. We have 50 states and it is one country. That is another example of Tawheedul Balad. Understood? So we're going to speak about the importance of Tawheed. The importance of Tawheed comes from many reasons. Like, I'll give it. So from one of the hadith narrated by Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anh in Sahih Muslim, demonstrates that the word Tawheed was known to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, and Tawheed is not a new introduced word. And it was in the hadith, it says, لبيك اللهم لبيك فأهل بالتوحيد لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. He says, he pronounced the oneness of Allah, saying, Labbaik, O Allah, Labbaik, Labbaik. Thou hast no partner, praise and grace is thine, and sovereignty too. And some might think, what is the technical definition of Tawheed? The technical definition of Tawheed is to testify that nobody deserves to be worshipped except Allah. And next one, we go back to, hold up. The fruits of learning Tawheed, or you can say Aqidah. Tawheed can be another synonym of Aqidah. Aqidah is more like your creed, a basic translation. And Tawheed could be in that topic, but the ulama, they separate it in some styles, but it is a synonym. And I advise to take notes a little bit so you can remember for your future. So number one, studying Tawheed helps one to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The text messed up. And avoid all shirk. So as we know, Tawheed is worshiping Allah alone. And what opposes that? It is shirk. All types of shirk opposes Tawheed. Even little shirk opposes Tawheed. All types. There's no excuse. Tawheed is to worship Allah alone in His worship and His lordship and His names and attributes. And if you make shirk, that is not Tawheed. And number two, through this knowledge, one can cleanse their worship by making their worship sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone by Allah's permission, and free themselves from associating any partners with Allah. And I have an example for this one. And let me see if I can find it. It's from the ayah in the story of Ibrahim, where he asked, let me find it. Okay. Actually, I'll find it later. Next class, because this is a two-part series. I'll find it next time. So write these 2 points down. So again, the technical definition of Tawheed, it is to testify that Allah is the only person that only deserves to be worshipped. There's nothing that deserves to be worshipped except Allah. And we have Surah Baqarah here, ayah 256. We see a negation and affirmation as well. Negation is so whoever believes in Tawhid, and affirmation is believes in Allah. Safwan, I don't think you can mute, but okay. I was gonna ask something. Okay, so the ayah is لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة وثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. So I'm gonna skip to this. So whoever disbelieves in Tawhid and believes in Allah. For example, let me go back here. Here. So the La ilaha illallah. The explaining why La ilaha illallah means that there's no God that deserves to be worshipped except Allah. This clarifies that although many entities are worshipped in this world, it is Allah only subhanahu wa ta'ala who deserves the worship. Why is La ilaha illallah? Some people might ask, there's no God that deserves to be worshipped except Allah, defined in the context of worship. According to 3 riwayah of hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anh, 2 questions at the end after, questions at the end, inshallah. 2 Sahih Bukhari and 1 in Sahih Muslim. We understand that Tawheed, Ibadah, and La ilaha illallah revolve around the same matter. And I want to go back. La ilaha illallah means there's nothing worthy of worship except Allah. There is a misconception that it means that there's no God but Allah. And why it is wrong is because many things are there's many gods. For example, the people who take their desires as God, Allah says that in the Quran, and example, the Quraysh, they had other gods. So this is a false statement, and you are actually indirectly saying that there's other things that deserve to be worshipped other than Allah. And also, we say that why deserves? Because people worship sun, moon, like prophets, and so many other stuff, even cows nowadays. People worship crazy things. That's why we say there's nothing worthy of worship except Allah. I want to move on to the next one. Shirk. And this is a bigger topic, but it will be only concise right now. The distractors of Aqidah, many people also have this misconception that teaching this is a waste of time, and it is sufficient for the people to worship Allah and not to worship idols. And our response is that the danger of al-khafi al-shirk is immense due to a subtle nature. Sorry, I have to invite someone. So the danger of al-khafi al-shirk is immense due to a subtle nature, as it is shirk, the one that commits without realizing. Moreover, it is something that the messenger told that he was worried about for his ummah. This makes it important for every Muslim to learn Aqidah or Tawheed. For example, here, the science of Tawheed, one to learn core matters such as the names and attributes of Allah, the actions of Allah, and many things are discussed in this subject matter. And the hadith is shown here in the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anh. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that he is more worried about al-khafi ash-shirk, the hidden shirk, for his ummah, more than he is worried about the Masih ad-Dajjal, thus signifying its danger. This is a weighty statement, as we know how much of a great child ad-Dajjal will be. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam considered al-khafi ash-shirk, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam compared to a person who stands to pray and decorates his prayer because he sees a man looking at him. The word al-khafi is of great implication because it tells us that shirk is hidden and not obvious in every case. It is subtler than the crawling of a small black ant on a black stone in the darkness of the night. And furthermore, I want to establish there's all types of shirk. And a small fawaid is to buy the book Kitab Tawheed, and it is a book that focuses on the worship of Allah, and which is this subject, and it speaks about the evidence for all types of shirk being not prevalent. You cannot have a talmid, you can't have a what's it called? Those necklace people wear for safety. These are shirk, and he provides his evidences and everything. So I would like to recommend that book. So linguistic definition to take a sharik is that to make one a partner with another. That is shirk in its definition. And some also say that shirk could be mixing yourself with something, like mixing. You mix something, shirk. And usage of linguistic definition, he makes shirk if he made this matter for two rather than one. Comparing the linguistic definition of shirk and tawheed, tawheed means to declare something as one, we already explained, and shirk means to divide or share something as more than one. Therefore, clearly, shirk is the opposite of tawheed. Moreover, for every category of tawheed, there's a category of shirk. Some, as I already mentioned, the ulama use the word tawheed as a synonym for aqidah. Points to remember, then the definitions are to help someone's understanding, and they are human effort. But yeah, and in our Islamic definition of shirk, why we study shirk is because we want to stay away from it. For example, the companions, they had the most knowledge of shirk. They came from Jahiliyyah, a time where shirk was so prevalent. If you guys know the time before Islam, shirk was all over Mecca. People worship different idols everywhere, except Allah. They were not worshiping Allah. So, for example, so the companions, they knew so much about shirk, but then when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came and taught them Tawheed, they knew all types of shirk to stay away from. So, Tawheed was easy for them. And we live in a time which is so much harder and difficult that shirk is everywhere. And we live in a time, I'm going to go, it's in the next slide, but I think we'll continue that next week further. But yeah, different religious or technical definition of shirk is like to divert an act of worship to other than Allah. Saying this is not a comprehensive and inclusive definition, but it does not elaborate on the other types of shirk, such as in we got 15 minutes, yeah. Such as in shirk in Allah's lordship, Allah's worship, and the names of attributes of Allah. And also Allah's lordship, it also does not speak about the shirk of the people who believe in more than one creator. So it is to take a partner or rival with Allah in his lordship or worship or his names and attributes. And we'll move on to the next slide. I hope everyone gets this hadith sort of written down or at least try to memorize it. It's the Sahih hadith. Okay, we'll today go over Rububiyyah, okay? Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, it says none of the prophets were sent for Rububiyyah. Everyone believes in Rububiyyah. So further explaining Rububiyyah, it comes from the word Rabb, the lordship, Allah's lordship, Rububiyyah. the lordship of Allah, meaning that Allah is the creator, Allah is the provider, Allah is the giver of life. That is what you call a Lord. That is a Lord. That's what's called attribute of rububiyyah. And none of the prophets were sent for rububiyyah. And you might ask, what do you mean? Like, why weren't they sent for rububiyyah? They were calling to Allah. But everyone believes in rububiyyah. Even the Quraysh, they believe that Allah is the Lord. They believe that He gives provision. But the problem was they didn't worship Him. So, like, even for Fir'aun, even for Shaytan, they know Allah is their Lord, but they're not worshiping Him. They never worshipped Him. They went against worshipping and committed shirk. And other stories go further. So everyone believes in rububiyyah. For example, the Christians believe in rububiyyah. The Buddhists, the Hindu, they all believe in something. They all believe in one main God. And this is found in almost everywhere. So I want to ask a question for next week. I want someone to answer in the group chat on why are the Tawheeds split in three? What is the benefit of benefit of separating the things in categories? What is the benefit? Like, what's the point of separating them? And further explaining it, then we have uluhiyya. Uluhiyya is to worship Allah alone in all worship, all types of worship. And only the prophets brought in the uluhiyya. No one else brought. This is where all the religions differ. It's who they worship. The Christian, they worship Isa. The Jews, they worship whoever they do, Isra or Isa, Musa. They worship the prophets. And even the Hindus, they worship multiple. So none of the other religion have uluhiyya except for the religion of Islam. And I would like for everyone who's watching this or seeing this to memorize al-rububiyyah, al-uluhiyyah, al-asma wa sifat. Al-rububiyyah meaning the lordship of Allah. Al-uluhiyyah means the oneness of worship of Allah. And al-asma wa sifat, the names and attributes of Allah. Get that written down and memorize it. So how people might be asking, how is let me see if I have enough. Yeah. So right here, Ar-Rububiyyah. The scholars, may Allah have mercy upon them, have categorized Tawheed into three. First, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. That is to single out Allah, glorious and exalted is He in three matters: creating, ownership, and disposition of affairs. That is, He is the Al-Khaliq, He is Al-Mulk, and He is At-Tadbir. The evidence for that, His statement, exalted, is the evidence in the ayah which His predicate is mentioned first, whereas the predicate is supposed to be mentioned last. And radical principle is that whenever what is supposed to be mentioned last is mentioned first. That proves specificity. Specificity. Okay. Comprehensive reading with categorization. For example, Surah Fatiha alone. We have Rububiyyah in Surah Fatiha. We have Uluhiyyah in Surah Fatiha. And we have Asma wa Sifat in Surah Fatiha. So, example, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to Allah. That goes to Uluhiyyah. And Rabbul Alameen, that goes to ownership of Allah's lordship, oneness of Allah's lordship. And Allah is a name of Allah. Allah is another name of Allah. And Rabb is another name of Allah. So you see in the first ayah, the first chapter of the Quran, it has uluhiyyah in it. How many more minutes we got? Okay. So in the next verse, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most merciful and the specially merciful. Another two attributes of Allah. And Maliki Yawmiddin, Malik comes from the attributes of Allah, the names and attributes, and oneness of names and attributes. And Yawmiddin comes from oneness of Allah's Lordship. And Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, the entire ayah is focused on uluhiyya. And everyone here knows that Surah Fatiha is the first surah, and we must memorize this surah to even have our salah accepted. There's no salah without the Surah Fatiha. And so this is an easy explanation of the three categories of Tawheed, and we'll go much further in the next week.